Hello dear students of class 9th, welcome to economics class. I hope all of you are fit and healthy. Students, in this video, I shall be continuing with the third chapter from your economics book, that is Poverty as a Challenge. So students, in this video, I shall be discussing the concluding topic of this chapter, the last topic, that is the challenges ahead. So students, in the previous video, I explained you about the anti-poverty measures. That means what measures, what steps can be taken to eradicate poverty. I basically explained you the measures that the government has made, basically the government has made its provisions on two planks. The first was the economic growth, promotion of economic growth, and the second, targeted anti-poverty programs or measures. Even after implementing those policies, even after implementing those programs, we still have challenge. We are still facing the challenge. Now, what is the challenge? Students, definitely there is no doubt that poverty is declining, or it has declined from the past years. But only declining poverty is not the solution. Still, the numbers are huge. The numbers, let me tell you, the numbers are stressful. So, definitely it is decreasing, definitely it is declining, but still the numbers, the people who are still poor, that remains India's most compelling challenges. Unless poverty is totally eradicated, we cannot be satisfied, because this is definitely an important issue that has to be discussed, definitely it is an important issue which has to be discussed, in which steps needs to be taken continuously. We cannot stop after taking measures, after taking steps. We have to work continuously in order to remove it, in order to eradicate it. Now students, if I talk about the challenges, what are the challenges that we are still facing after implementing those policies successfully? The first challenge, disparities. I had already explained you this topic while I was explaining you the chapter. I hope you remember the topic, interstate disparities. Disparities means differences. So disparities in poverty, they are still visible. Disparities are still visible between rural and urban areas and among different states. That means you will find a huge gap, a wide gap between states, between the rural areas and the urban areas. There are disparities, that means there are differences. Some states have successfully managed to overcome this situation, but some states are still facing it, and they are very badly affected. Some states they are really affected. And if I talk about the rural and urban areas, in urban areas also we have poverty, and in rural areas also poverty is there. But if I talk about the rural areas, then there you will find the situation adverse as compared to the urban areas. So this is one challenge, that everything, all the states, all the areas are not same. They cannot be measured under one balance. No. So there are disparities. So this is one challenge. That means equality is not there, uneven distribution is there, evenly distribution is not there. And the second challenge is vulnerability of certain social groups. I explained you this point also. Still there are several sections of the society that are vulnerable, or you can call them poorest of the poor. I explained you regarding the female, the elderly people, the female infants, the women. Then about certain sections of the society, for example, the SCs, the STs, the tribal section. They are more vulnerable they are adversely affected by this poverty even after implementation of several policies or even after implementation of several programs. These groups continue to be vulnerable. So this is the challenge that we are facing, these two. First is disparity and the second is vulnerability. So what can be done? How steps can be taken? What measures can be taken to make this a successful program? So students, the question is how to overcome these challenges. So students, let me tell you that certain points needs to be considered, certain factors needs to be considered or taken into consideration in order to achieve our goal, in order to complete the challenge successfully. For example, let me tell you students that this would only be possible mainly due to certain factors or reasons like higher economic growth. First point is higher economic growth. Higher economic growth means construction of buildings, construction of factories, industries, schools, means giving importance to infrastructure. If schools will be there, then definitely the children, the girls will be promoted, encouraged to go to schools. And once the children gets enrolled in the school, what will happen? Definitely they will learn something, their quality will improve, and after some time, means at the desired age, at the right age, they will not lack opportunities. They will get opportunities, they will grab opportunities, and as a result of which they will not remain poor. So this is one point, to give more stress on the economic growth. Then second is free elementary education, or I would say universal free elementary education. Universal means everybody, all the children should have access to free elementary education. This is also a very important point. Now, some families are really very poor. They cannot afford their children to educate. They cannot afford their children Now students, some families are really very poor. They cannot afford their children to get educated. They cannot enroll their children to schools. So universal free elementary education should be there. This is there. So this should reach every student. This should reach every child. So that, see, once a child is educated, then the whole family is educated. Let me tell you. So education must be given utmost importance. Education and health. If a child is educated, then definitely he or she will take care of himself or herself or the entire family. So there are less chances of undernourishment once the person is educated, once the child is educated. And once a person is educated, there will be more and more opportunities coming on his or her way. So ultimately poverty will be removed, it will be eradicated. So this is also a very important measure that can be taken. Then we have declining population growth. There should be several policies, actually there are several policies, but that should be implemented very strictly about population. See, if population will be more, there will be more mouths to feed. And if a family is not very prosperous, if a family is poor, suppose there are 5 members in the family and only one person is working. There is husband, wife and 3 children. If instead of 3 children, if they only had 1 child, then the condition would have improved, right? Less mouths to feed. So this is one important point that needs to be considered. Then we have increasing empowerment of the women and the economically weaker section of the society. See, this is also very important. Female education is very important. It is said that if a boy is educated, that means he is educated. But if a girl is educated, then the entire family is educated. Yes, this is said, and this is really very true. So we should encourage female education, girls' education. They should be given education. They should be given their rights. Then only our society will uplift. If the girls will uplift, then the society will uplift. If the society will uplift, then the nation will uplift. So these are the points, these are the factors that needs to be stressed, that needs to be taken into consideration in order to complete the challenge, in order to overcome, in order to eradicate poverty from our country, and not only from our country but from the world. So I hope these points are clear to everybody. See, challenges are definitely there, but there are ways, and through that ways we can remove the issues, we can remove the problems to get fruitful results, to get 100% results. All right. Now students, let me conclude this chapter. Now this is really very important. We need to conclude. See, we need to broaden the concept of poverty into human poverty. We are only thinking about poverty. That means we are only thinking about the economic status of a person, but we are ignoring the other factors that are very important. Let me tell you that poverty is not a broad concept, but if I talk about human poverty, that is a broad concept. So we need to widen our concept. We are only restricted, we are only limited to one definition, that a person who is earning less, the person who is not able to feed himself or herself or his or her family is considered to be poor. We have created a benchmark, we have created a standard, that for example, a person who is earning less than rupees 100 will be considered as below poverty line, and if a person is earning more than rupees 100 will be considered as above poverty line. But let me ask you, if a person is earning rupees 105, will the situation of that person improve? No. Will that person be considered as prosperous? No. Nothing will improve for that person. It's only a benchmark that is set. A person who is earning rupees 99 and a person who is earning rupees 105. What is the difference? Difference of merely 6 rupees. Does it make a difference? Not at all. We have restricted ourselves. So we need to broaden our scope. Poverty is a very wide scope, a broad scope, but we have limited it to a definition. We have limited the scope of poverty to a definition. So that should not be there. There is no fault in the definition, but we need to open our eyes. We need to see every aspect of poverty. Poverty does not only mean about economic status, about earning or feeding, but it also means regarding quality life. It also deals with education. It also deals with healthcare services. It also deals with the disparities and differences, the vulnerabilities, the different sections in our society is facing. So this is all about poverty. See, it is not about minimum subsistence level, but it is about a reasonable subsistence level. We are only seeing minimum subsistence, means minimum economic growth, minimum earning of a person, but that minimum should be replaced by reasonable. What is reasonable? Only minimum is okay for the growth and development of the economy, for the growth and development of a person, or reasonable suits better. So we need to look that way. Then only we will be able to achieve true success. Then only we will be able to eat the fruits of success. So I hope the points are clear to everybody. So students, let me end up by saying that poverty I'm saying it again. So students, let me conclude by saying that eradication of poverty is a moving concept. You cannot fix it. It is a moving concept. You said that earning rupees 100, a person who is earning more than rupees 100 will be considered as above poverty line. But we cannot fix that. There are several other dimensions, there are several other factors that we need to look through. So it is always a moving concept. We need to grow, we need to develop. We cannot remain stagnant, we cannot remain stuck to a particular point. In order to develop ourselves, in order to develop our nation, in order to eradicate this poverty, we need to see in a broad manner. We need to cover all the concepts. Not only we should restrict ourselves to economic growth, but there are several other factors that needs to be taken into consideration in order to develop ourselves and in order to eradicate this issue called as poverty. So I hope all the points, all the topics of this chapter are clear to everybody. And students, in the next video, I shall be discussing the question answers of this chapter. I hope all the points are clear to everybody. So with this note, thank you so much, and I'll meet you in the next video with the question answers of this chapter. Till then, thank you so much. Revise your lessons well, study all the points, all the topics, and do take good care of yourselves. Thank you.